Welcome to my channel, Tools for Ascension by Wolfgang, dear Chinese souls, and my gift for you today is a powerful guided meditation for DNA activation and healing. But first a little mental lubricant, concepts that may help you, shift into the larger perspective of things. So our understanding of DNA has changed to a more, let's say, sophisticated model. So your DNA is not fixed. It is a living, vibrating program, responding to love, fear, memory, and frequency. So it has been shown, that DNA that gets yelled at constricts, and the DNA that is being loved expands. Means it becomes more efficient, and of course, constriction means less efficient. And strangely enough, the same applies to most of my clients. The more in love vibration, they are. I'm completely total Rasta here. The more harmonious or beautiful they become. A transition, that can happen in less than a minute. So maybe the DNA reflects right away, also in the physical body. Of course, not necessarily your bones, but, the soft tissue. So not just water gets affected by love, also DNA. And, science now confirms what mystics have always known. DNA and consciousness are intertwined. So your emotions, your lineage, and your experience, even ancestral trauma are encoded, within your strands. Yeah, for instance, in homeopathy, there's this concept of miasms, where a certain disease, like tuberculosis or syphilis, travels in a low-lying form in your DNA, passed on from ancestor to ancestors. So you could say that DNA is a prison. Well, it's more like a cosmic interface. A certain divine architecture meant to evolve with your soul. Remember the delightful video or movie, The Fifth Element? Here the divine being avatar had the super dense DNA. It was like a many stranded cable. And which programs for each possible situation or world. And so that's a really good concept to understand. Okay, so of course, many of us have heard now about the 12-strand DNA. And maybe we had it at one time, and that we have been dumped down to 2-strand version. It's like, when there was, a high percentage, I think 30% oxygen on this planet, you could have, giant insects the size of small dogs flying around, and then they had to dumb it down to those tiny insects. What a reduction. So similar, it seems like, we have been reduced from a 12-strand DNA to a 2-strand, maybe. Of course, I wanted to see for myself, and a highly educated and gifted client of mine, did the same, and so we went, and checked it out, and this is what we found out. And take it or leave it, just see what resonates with you. I'm not applying, scientific instruments, though I have been, trained in a scientific method, also in philosophy. I also studied the critique of science. I understand the principles. So, but what we found out, the more strands of DNA you have, the higher the sophistication and efficiency of the programs running your system. So, and therefore higher life force, lifespan, etc., etc. And so it's like, you're having a sophisticated European motor, compared to maybe a simplified gas guzzling, power motor, where you get, the more sophistication you have, you maybe the more efficiency you have. Of course, moving parts is another issue. So, we also, in this experiment, we cranked our DNA to a 4-strand version for a while. And it felt great. But you have to have lots of life force, to maintain, this 4-strand DNA level. And of also we were shown, methods of activation, purification, and updating, and we will go through this, in this guided meditation now. So, from now on, no driving or heavy machinery. The headphones are the best, block out stuff, and you have more, better, left-right perception and integration. And you might want to sit on an office chair, with your back supported, feet on the ground, or lay down. Laying down, higher chances of falling asleep and passing out. But hey, falling asleep like this is pretty good. No problem there. And, before you go under, give me a thumbs up if you appreciate my work. It will help spread it, and in other ways too. And so let's do the invocation now. And we asked, for the highest being, absolute highest being, nothing more superior or more original, the source of everything, of all that is. As well as our higher self and the spirit guides of love and light, of the purest love, to surround us now, with their protection, with their love, and clear any dark interferences, distortions, entities, away from us, also any fear, devices to sabotage us, listening devices. You know what to do. And then infuse us also with truth, love, light, and healing. Amen, amen, amen. So you just nod your head in agreement, and so be it. And now smile, and if you can, keep your lips closed. You want to breathe through your nose. And imagine that you pull in the love from Mother Earth through your feet and through your root chakra into your whole body, like a tree sucks up water from the earth. And in appreciation, you send your energy, and let's say discarded energy, stuff you don't need anymore, into the earth again. And we asked her and our spirit guides to clear from you, whatever is not needed, especially dark thought from other people. Amen. Deep breathing all the way in and all the way out. And you want to hear the air flowing through your nostrils. And you can have your tongue at the top of the palate, not behind the teeth, the top of the palate. That will help with left-right brain integration. And now you smile again. And now, as you pull up the love of Mother Earth into your body, think of a vertical beach. A beach that's going from the earth up into your body, and you pull, her water like a wave into your whole body, And as it hits the top of your head, it rolls down with your breath back into the earth. So the waters of love and life from the earth flow up into you and then just sink back into the earth. Up and down, and you smile, enjoying this beautiful flow. And every time, you release the water that, you inhaled from Mother Earth, you feel lighter and more energized. And when you receive these beautiful waters in your mind, you think in gratitude, I love you. And then when you send your stuff back, also think, I love you. Back and forth in this gratitude exchange. And you probably feel tingling, as you do so. Say it in your mind. Your mouth is meant for smiling. And your breath is meant for pumping. Chi. Back and forth. Whatever you visualize is starting to happen on the chi levels. Okay. And now imagine that this light becomes very golden from Mother Earth. And you pull it straight into the heart. And on the exhale you expand it more and more. Think of it as if you blow up a balloon. And the balloon is your heart. But let's say a balloon with a fuzzy shell, Or maybe like a lotus, but with the flower leaves kind of undulating beautifully. And also make sure that balloon expands to the back of your heart. And we ask the Source and Mother Earth and our spirit guides and high self to clear all the backstabbing energy that is still with us. All the gossip from other people, their jealousy, their envy, their ill wishes, and whatever other dark energies we've picked up from them and just from our environment. You think the highway is a happy place? You think the shopping mall is a happy place, or the grocery store? Yeah, think again. Okay, yeah, we like to have all these energies cleared, pretty please. And we ask that everything that happens from now on in this session and from this session here is going to be for our highest good, and is also in divine harmony in general, and with the most benevolent outcome for And now, we go deeper and deeper into our heart. Imagine that your heart is like a well. There's a well, going into deeper dimensions, like a cornucopia. Or like a, black hole, but it's not sucking in. It's just a, let's say, a place, a portal place. And now you start pulling, the love from the portal. Your original love. Your original love, that from Source. Start pulling that out through the portal. We intend this. And we ask Source, to open this portal in our heart now. And just nod and smile. And you might get some funny feelings. And now start imagining with your breath, that you pull this love from source, from the depth of your heart to the surface, into this reality. Just pull it up. Be quite greedy. Can't get enough of this stuff. Deep breathing, but smile like an idiot. The sweeter you smile, the sweeter the love that you will receive. If you don't smile at all, you're not going to get love. You're just going to get energy. And if you frown, you probably attract dark energies too. Yeah, so be careful what you do with your mouth. So you want to smile. That keeps you in your divine consciousness. And we are so still, clear even more, whatever disturbances, distractions, imbalances in our environment and in ourselves. No? And now we also ask, your higher consciousness, your divine self. That is always there, but you do not have any access to it or awareness of it. But now we ask this higher self aspect, your wise aspect that's beyond space and time, to descend into your body now. Let's smile. And you probably feel more radiant now, and your posture may improve. Just let it flow, don't fight it. Okay. And now we ask this aspect of you that is residing into you to, in front of you with your eyes closed. It's like imagining it. To show you a representation of your DNA right now. This is kind of a crude thing, like a pie chart, you could say. And just have your fantasy. Create a DNA, with the intent, approximate, your DNA, of course, in a symbolic way. And now we ask your higher self to also show you next to this one, your DNA, that would be, two-strand, but, much more perfect. Something that you have the potential of manifesting without too much fanaticism in this lifetime. We ask her to show that now. And for some of you that are not so visual, this might just be a feeling. A feeling of expansiveness, of love-centeredness. Just a feeling in your body. Just observe the difference. And now let's also put some numbers on it. And so whatever pops into your mind, just take this for a fact for right now. I mean, we're not mortgaging the house or buying a car here. So let's ask your higher self. So if, my strands, or your strands, could be, your 2D. So ask your higher self now, if your 2 DNA strands could be 100% active and radiant in this life, so how much are there kind of currently in your life activated, like this week? And see what comes up. And now let's also ask, how close, are you having your 4-strand DNA activated percentage-wise? 100% is like, yeah, you got it now. And now let's ask, what is still holding you back, from this? The most important thing? And then the second most important thing. And let's ask, how many percentage of this obstacles to, let's say 4-strand DNA is from karma, from this life and your other own incarnations, past lifetimes? How much? And how much is from ancestral wounds or grief, held in the bloodline? Not where you were involved, but your ancestors, parents, grandparents, on and on and on. They all went through rough times, right? So how many percent comes from them? Now, how much comes from other contamination, like dark codes, from curses, or even from other ET races that are messing with us, that have access to our DNA and know how to manipulate us, or our ancestors? How much, from DNA manipulation, from, let's say, superior than human beings? And how much from just, let's say, environmental contamination? Anything from junk food to Wi-Fi, FM, radiation, to inhaling exhaust fumes, and carpet fumes, environmental toxins like this. How much, are they also blocking, your DNA evolution percentage-wise? And so let's have another question here. Let's ask, at the time of birth, you got, you got a certain set of DNA, and then now during your lifetime, it got maybe eroded or damaged, or maybe upgraded. Who knows? Let's just see. So, was there any damage added to your DNA since your birth? Yes or no? And how much of the damage, that total damage, 100% of your DNA right now, has been caused by you or through your environmental factors in this lifetime? It's good to get an overview here. And well, I mean, you might have, done all kinds of things to improve the situation, like meditation, purification, good deeds, and so on. So how much have you healed? Or have you healed anything, in your DNA? Yes or no? And how much of the damage, how many percentage have you healed by now? All right. So by now we have a pretty good idea of what's going on, with your DNA. At least an overview. And, in an individual session, we would look, at darkness in your DNA and then investigate, which body part that is, and then have this clear. So this is an active method. Let's just try this, and then we go to a more passive method. That pretty much everybody can do. So let's just do the active method right now. And when you can't do it, don't get frustrated. But if you can do it, it's definitely, something you want to practice in the future more. So we asked now your high self to kind of show you a symbolic DNA of your self and show the dark spots there, or the gray areas there that are not so bright, where there is contamination or maybe corruption there. Give you an overview. And now we asked your high self to show you the most important contamination spot, where to focus on now. And now imagine that you're pulling love, golden light from the inner walls of your heart, that cornucopia that connects you with Source. On the inhale, pull this, into your body as much as you can. And then on the exhale, you send it into the dark spot, the DNA, with the intent to clear this up. Start doing that. Then smile like an idiot and breathe it into the darkness. And we asked, of course, Source to send the energy that is needed to clear and update the DNA there. If you do not see anything or feel anything, just focus on pulling the love from Source into your heart and intend it to send into your DNA for healing. Just the intent will do too. And probably the way you feel will shift now. And you can ask, which aspect of your being, was affected or ruled by this strand of DNA that had that darkness on it. See what comes up. Okay, and now let's ask your high self to show you the next important dark spot in your DNA. And when you get that, and some people that are empath, they might just feel some darkness, some heaviness somewhere in their heart or body. So, and then, on the inhale, again, fill yourself with Source love and send it into this darkness, whether you feel it, see it, or perceive in any other way. Keep on pumping, smile like an idiot. Breathe like a bellow. And you will probably feel that your vibration shifts. You may feel tingling all over your body or on certain body parts. That's always a good omen, a good sign. It means more higher chi in this area. And for some people it even means, they're going into the higher dimension, fifth dimension, sixth, seventh dimensions in this aspect. It depends on what you are and who you are. Okay, so you can continue in this route, but now we're going to the more general practices that are also very, very effective, because there's just the quantity of darkness. This can be quite, overwhelming. So now we ask our spirit guides and the beings of love and light that are appointed by Absolute Source to assist us, and that are aligned with Absolute Source. We request to have a full virus scan on our DNA. Yeah, just like on your computer. So we call on all the divine energies to sweep, through our DNA. Start clearing, first of all, spells and curses. Ask, how much is your DNA contaminated by spells and curses about? Let's have this all cleared now. Also, into the past, present, and future timelines, if possible. Amen, amen, amen. If possible, we give permission, if it's for the highest good, of course, in divine harmony with the most benevolent outcomes. And some of these processes and cleansing may take a while, so while this is going on, let us ask to have any technological distortion. Human-made ones like EMF, Bluetooth, FM, Wi-Fi, microwave, and on. Even normal electricity, has a force field that can confuse your light body. So we like to have this healed now, those effects on our DNA. And let's ask, how much percentage-wise was your DNA compromised by these human-made, higher tech effects? The shift always takes about 5 seconds before it kicks in, and the stronger it kicks in, well, that means there was a lot of stuff there. Quite obvious. And now let's ask whether your DNA was also damaged through technological distortions, let's call it, from dark ET races, maybe using the moon or Saturn or other broadcasting stations, but not human-made. How much are you affected by that percentage-wise? Amen. And, we like to have these cleared now. Amen, amen, amen. And we appeal to the highest galactic and intergalactic forces of love and light to remove these illegal instrumentations now. They're illegal, and if they're illegal, don't just stand by and do something about it. And everybody can insist, just say amen or nod your head. And of course clear whatever, damage was done to our DNA of ourselves and ancestors to those devices too. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, oh my God. There's definitely a lot going on there. And again, we ask for protection against the revenge from those beings. Yeah, I asked my troops, that protect me, to stand by. Just wait for them. Now, while this is still going on, so our ancestors definitely, went through a lot of trauma. I mean, Native Americans, African Americans, then Russians, I mean, even the Germans, I mean, everybody, got raked through the coals, through war, and many of them extermination, slavery, etc. Deep wounds in their psyche. So let's see, how much is your DNA damaged from these dark emotional imprints from your ancestors? How many percent? Pretty please. Amen. And we like to have this cleared. We give permission for ourselves and ancestors, and we also ask the divine ascension teams, like the Arcturian love healing and ascension team temples, to extend their help to them, invite them into their proper kivas in other places of worship, give them the life reviews, help them with forgiveness, and then clear whatever keeps them trapped and bring them into the heavens. Amen, amen, amen. Or what we consider heavens, higher vibrational. Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's always important to liberate traumatized ancestors. They can be quite a drag. And I definitely ask the divine beings, to show them the difference, the different timelines of the path of revenge and the path of forgiveness. Amen, amen, amen. Just give permission, and in a few seconds you will see there's probably another upflow when they leave, going into the heavens. There we go. Oh my God, yeah, just smile and breathe, send source love into the heavens. That means on the inhale, fill your heart with the love from the bottom of your heart, and then send it out the top of your head with a smile, big, big smile. And this might take some time. So while this is going on, let's ask your higher self, how much is your DNA affected by what is called miasms? These are like underlying diseases like syphilis and others that, are kind of too weak to manifest, but kind of also, create a toll on your system. It's like having, sand in your gears. So how much is your DNA compromised by miasms? Amen. So we like to have this cleared now by myself and the beings of love and light that can do so, that are approved by high self. And if you can, clear it from our ancestors and descendants. From another perspective, all time is simultaneously, so we haven't dealt much with the future. That's another thing to come, other meditations. Alright, and oh yeah, here it's kicking in now. And so there are probably also, parasitic interferences on your DNA. Yeah? In a way, every virus is a DNA interference. But let's just call this parasitic interferences on your DNA, whether it's as simple as a virus or more complicated. Doesn't matter. So, how much are you affected by this percentage-wise? And then we like to have this clear, pretty please. Amen, amen, amen. And some of you might even use a pendulum and check for yourself. Okay. And now another fact is, through all the legends and channelings, by now it's quite commonly known that there are splice-ins, deletions, and limitations in our DNA, in order to dumb us down, maybe make us subservient, maybe have a backdoor into our consciousness, to kind of turn us off or make us submissive. So we like to have those cleared now, and if we put those into others, in other life forms, when we were incarnated in higher life forms and doing this kind of stuff, to others we like to have these cleared now, if it's for the highest good and divine harmony with the most benevolent outcomes. Maybe hard to believe for you, but many of us that are listening to this have been involved in designing or manipulating human DNA as Anunnaki or as Atlanteans, or even in Egypt. That still was done. Even Edgar Cayce talks about it. So now you have a pretty good idea what's wrong with your codes, and now just keep aligning with the prayer that we do. Now we asked Source and all divine beings that have been approved by our high self, and we asked them to please scan our DNA and release all that is not of divine origin from our DNA. Of course, whatever is for the highest good for us. And also, please restore, our genetic code to its highest original blueprint. Amen, amen, amen. Of course, again, at the speed that your high self approves. And now, from the bottom of your heart, breathe in the golden light. And then, see your DNA in front of you. And just breathe it up and down that corkscrew spiral of the DNA. Just, on the inhale, you fill yourself with source love on the bottom of your heart. And on the exhale, you have this ball, or these two balls of love and light, going up this DNA spiral, lighting it up. And then, the second time you exhale, you go from up down. So one time you're running, the light up the code, and another time you're running it down the code, the symbolic code. Let's just do so now. Just keep on running it up and down. And now we invite the DNA upgrade. So we ask or imagine that our new strands be activated, that they be twisting and expanding, and filling with radiant light. And some of you may even see light codes streaming in. But let's say most of you, you'll feel tingles, warmth, or even emotional release. So just let it flow. Deep breathing. Of course, on your own time. You can do this for a long time. So, while you're still doing breathing, ask your higher self, so what is the real life application for you through this upgrade? Basically, what can you expect now, just from this exercise, this one time, to happen with your life? And some might just get a feeling in their body of lightness, of love. Or they may see themselves relating different to people, or just a general radiance. And let's just ask a more simple question, yes or no. Will you feel more emotionally stable? Yes or no? And will you feel more love? Yes or no? Will you have greater health and vitality? Yes or no? Let's ask, do you do this once a day? How much will your vitality increase? If you do it once a week, let's say for 5 minutes, how much will your vitality increase? If you do it in the morning and in the evening for 5 minutes, how much will your vitality increase? Will it create deeper mental clarity and intuition? Yes or no? And will this DNA activation create a stronger connection to Source? Yes or no? Now on the exhale, send your love to Source, so back into the heart, as if like Source is on the other side listening. And let's see, let's ask Source. Do you have a better connection with Source now? Yes or no? Some of you may just have an overwhelming feeling of love coming from inside you. Anyhow, it's always good to talk to Source, at least to try. You may not hear the answer, but Source probably is listening, huh? And so let's ask, how much light of your full potential is present in your DNA now? Let's say if you have 100% potential, how much of your DNA has been activated now? And allow the answer. I mean, no judgment, only awareness. Mm-hmm. And now we ask for full integration. So that our body, mind, and spirit complex and soul be all balanced. Also that our nervous system, our heart, chakras, nadis, meridian, all the different system, endocrine, scattered, that they all be updated and integrated. So, that we may walk in this world, fully or more activated, and embodied and whole. And on the inhale, we fill our heart with love. And on the exhale, we send it to all that helped us. Just imagine them in front of you. You fill yourself with love again and send it into your body. Thank you, DNA. Fill yourself with love again. Send it into your body. Thank you, body. And you may feel, the answer coming back. A lot of love, a lot of radiance, a lot of bliss, hair standing on end. These are all good symptoms. Now fill your heart with some source love again. Send it to your ancestors. And thank you, ancestors. Lots of love coming back. And fill your heart with source love again. Send it to your guides that are all around you. Thank you, guides. And now you pull in the source of love into your heart. And then, you condense it into your heart. Thank you, heart, for being there, this beautiful gateway for me. Thank you. And now, just affirm with me, I walk in love, I walk in truth, I walk in my highest design. It is done, it is integrated, I am. Just gently breathe, and we ask the spirit guides to close all the portals that need to be closed now, as well as to clear any cords that still need to be cleared now, and to also clear any astral dust and darkness and maybe nosy entities that are not supposed to be there in our environment. Clear, 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 clear. And now you become aware of your body. You wiggle your toes, you wiggle your fingers, and you bring your awareness back into your room, into your body. But unless you wanted to go to sleep, then you sleep deeper than ever and dream better than ever. But if you're ready for the day, open your eyes. Well, welcome back to this reality. Make sure you ground yourself big time before you drive or operate heavy machinery. And if this journey helped you activate or remember something, give us a thumbs up, maybe share it with us, subscribe, and also share this with other awakened souls. You're not alone in this. Let's rise all together. I'm available for personal session. The information is below. And if you cannot afford it, I have lots of free videos on my channel that will help you or should assist you and teach you, about the many facets, you know, that helps us in our ascension. You know, clear the obstacles, drink a lot of water, and watch my other videos, and I love you long time.